Welcome to this sixth and final concerts in our series of lunchtime concerts, Music at One with Friends of St. Michael Cathedral. As you can see, we're here on the chancel steps of the cathedral, and that's a building which is presently closed, not only because of the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, but also because various building works are taking place here. We're having a new roof put on, and also the ceiling, the 500-year-old ceiling erected by Bishop Dunbar, is being cleaned, and we're all very much looking forward to seeing the ceiling in its pristine glory once we can see clearly exactly what's happening there. We've been given special permission by the contractors to be here to do this recording tonight, and because of the restrictions of the pandemic, we're all subject to social distancing. As you can see, we're all wearing masks. Despite these problems, however, we warmly welcome the singer David Walsh, who recently graduated with B.Mars Honours at the University of Aberdeen. And David, I'd like to congratulate you on your achievement. Well done. Thank you. And you've been with us for quite a number of years, and during the time you've been here in Aberdeen, you've made an enormous contribution, not only singing solo, but also singing in ensembles, both here in Aberdeen and also elsewhere. So I'd like to thank you on behalf of Aberdeen's musical community for all you've given to us over the last few years. Thank you. And Jeremy, you're here to play the piano. I won't say accompaniment because you're going to be playing quite a number of orchestral parts on the piano here. And you have a long family association with the cathedral, so could I say welcome back to your cathedral, and a very warm welcome to you both for this concert. Now, the recital today will consist entirely of works by Handel, and there are 3 arias from his operas, and you're going to end, David, with one item from an oratorio. So we'd like to begin with an aria from the opera Tamerlano, which was first performed in London in 1724. Its title is Forte e Lieto. Would you like to tell us just a little bit about this, David?
Of course. So at the start of Tamerlano, we have the Sultan of the Turks, Bajazet, taken prisoner, and in this grand statement of the beginning of the opera, he basically explains that the only reason he will not go to his death is for the love of his daughter.
Okay, thank you. And the translation perhaps of the title, Forte e Lieto?
Strongly and gladly.
Thank you very much.
Sete lassi
was the aria Forte Lieto from the opera Tamerlano by the 18th century Baroque composer George Friedrich Handel. David and Jeremy will now perform another aria by Handel, this time from his opera Alcina, which dates from 1735 and again was first given in London. In Un Momento di Contento, translated as A Moment of Calm, the singer in this aria is Oronte, the character who has been trying his best throughout the opera to reclaim his love for his lover Morgana, the sorceress, who has abandoned him from the start. But at this part of the opera, the tables have turned, and Morgana has been seeking to mend the relationship with Oronte. Oronte rejects her, but tells us as the audience that he will still always love her, regardless of her faithlessness. Thank you. So we'll now hear Un Momento di Contento from Handel's opera Alcina. That was Un Momento di Contento from Handel's opera Alcina. Now, before hearing the next aria, I'd like to ask you, David, why you are concentrating on Handel today. As a Canadian, now living in Scotland, in Aberdeen, it seems perhaps on the face of it a little strange that you should be singing work by an 18th century composer who, though born in Germany, was influenced by Italian music and then, as we all know, settled in London for the rest of his life. Why Handel, David?
I think with Handel, he's always clicked with me. Just with his musical language, there is a clear line and progression to it. And not only that, it's very rewarding to sing. There was something that William Christie, the early music specialist, said regarding this music that I really latched onto. And it was the idea that this music is often branded less demonstrative and more objective than the romantics, the music to come, which he said was utter rubbish, essentially, because this music, above all, you only have to listen to it to understand its sentimentality, and that it came from a composer like Handel, who had a love of humanity and a love for stories of redemption.
That's lovely, thank you. Now, you've chosen a recitative and aria from the opera Rodelinda, and this was first performed in London in 1725. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the dramatic situation of this particular recit and aria? A very dramatic recit, I might say.
Oh, yes. So at this point in Rodelinda, we have the usurper of the throne, Grimwaldo, trying to seek solace by himself in a garden, and his soul is tormented by the ghosts of the past after all of the terrible things he has done. He simply wishes to sleep at this point, and he as a great king, he envies the shepherds who among their flocks can sleep easy without the crimes of the past that seek to torment and keep his soul awake, essentially.
Thank you very much. And now, recitative and aria from the opera Rodelinda.
Sole
That was the recitative and aria Fatto Inferno and Pastorella d'un povero Armento from Handel's Italian opera Rodelinda. Now, before we come to the final item, Jeremy, I would like to ask you about playing Handel on the piano. We know that the piano was invented, but we also know that it was very much a niche invention and very unlikely that Handel would have come across the piano. But here you are, playing these orchestral parts on the piano, most beautifully I might say. But would you like to talk to us a little bit about this?
Thank you, yes. So it is, as you say, anachronistic in some ways to play this 18th century music on not just a piano, but a modern grand piano. And we have the Bösendorfer here in St. Macca's Cathedral. So, I think it would also be strange, though, to accompany opera on a harpsichord and playing it as a solo instrument, because it has a relatively limited range of sonority, and so the piano allows the accompanist to sort of recreate the range of sonorities that you might get in an 18th century instrumental ensemble. But at the same time, I'm trying not to think in terms of reproducing a sort of, as it were, an authentic 18th century style, but bring Handel into the 21st century.
I'm afraid with our limited budget we couldn't afford a full Baroque orchestra, but I'm very glad to say that Jeremy, it's been lovely to hear you play these parts, and the sense of colour and the sense of drama that you've been able to draw from the piano has complemented the voice most beautifully.
Well, thank you.
Now we come to the last item on today's concert, which is the aria Thus When the Sun from the Oratorio Samson. Now this oratorio was built around the biblical subject of Samson and was composed in 1743, just 2 years after the Messiah. And David, I'd like, if I may, to just ask you a little bit about the context of this aria. And when you hear the whole oratorio, this aria somehow packs an enormous emotional punch. Are there any particular reasons for that, do you think?
I think with this one in particular, you're coming to the end of the story, and at this point, Samson has been through it all. He's been blinded most of all, and that to take away the sight for what nature can behold is just everyone's worst nightmare, I think. So in this aria, there is a particular emotional punch as he's describing, almost trying to make up for what he can't see.
So, here we are, the last item for today's programme, Thus When the Sun, from Handel's Oratorio, Samson. That was the aria, Thus Went the Sun, from Handel's Oratorio Samson, and it brings to a close this recital, which has been given by David Walsh and Jeremy Coleman. And I'd like to say a sincere thank you to you both for such a splendid and varied recital. This has been a marvellous way to end our whole series.
Thank you.
The series has been recorded here in St Michael Cathedral in Old Aberdeen. I would like to say thank you very much to the Friends of St Michael's Cathedral for their wholehearted support of this series, Music at One, with the Friends of St Michael's Cathedral. And I'd also like to thank Rachel Burse for filming us, and also Tom Williams for doing all the sound. Thank you both very much indeed. I'd also like to thank the contractors for their cooperation and agreement in letting us come into the cathedral in this time of difficulty when they're doing building works. And I would like them to know that their special permission is particularly appreciated. I'd like to thank you, also our audience, for listening. I hope you found the concert something of a comfort in these extraordinary times. And if you've missed any of the six or would like to hear any of them again, they will be available on Facebook and YouTube for some time now. Thank you for your company and for your many comments, which have been much appreciated. Keep safe and take care.